Hello everyone and welcome to this video, which is in our Great Human Game series. It's another game between me and Duo. Let's have a look how it went. I'm getting a lot of bananas games. Duo is at quite a nice level, I have to say. Sometimes plays really well and then makes a blunder. Sometimes plays quite poorly at the start and then suddenly plays exceptionally well. And sometimes, my heavy hitting sort of seems to pay off somehow and creates a blunder somehow. So, yeah, it's just a very nice playing experience, I have to say. And the fact that you get points for your Duolingo just by playing sort of encourages you just to go for it simply and not worry too much about winning and losing, which is kind of decent somehow. So let's have a look how this game went. So I'm playing e4 now, just trying out a repertoire from a book I've just reviewed. Knight f6 and knight c3. Duo plays pretty much everything. These in the opening, he plays the move 2e6, which leads normally to a transposition back into a normal Steinitz French. I played f4, and now, well, obviously the big theoretical move is to play c5 here, but g6 from Duo. Don't think he's got any opening theory, Duo. It's just some LLM that's making it up as it goes along. So, White plays quite sensibly, knight e2. The idea of this is that after c5, you can simply play the move c3 and take back with the pawn on d4 there, and basically I've achieved a very nice center here. I've got my pawn on f4, and now I've got the pawn on d4 solidified. So you're just going to have a few difficulties just sort of getting at that white center. So bishop e7, knight f3, a6. Slightly strange move, not really required, but Duo does stuff like that. It's not an engine playing at the top of its strength, but yeah, it's just as always, it's rather resourceful at certain unexpected moments. So I played the move h4 here, very typical move in the French anyway. In this sort of system, you're going to often play g3, just really solidify that pawn structure. And I'm also looking at playing h5 here as well. Duo played h5, and now I played the move knight g5. This is quite nice. If you take on g5 here, I've got choices. I'll probably take with the f pawn, just open up the f file like that, have the f6 square for myself. Should be a very pleasant advantage. Black's kind of missing the dark squared bishop there. So b5 played, and I played the move g3, and after knight c6, bishop h3. I'm definitely just eyeing up a sacrifice. Either knight takes c6 or bishop takes c6. When after bishop e6 takes knight e6, for example, yeah, that knight's quite dangerous, and I've got follow-up maybe against the black king side somehow. Wasn't quite sure which one I was going to play, and in the next few moves I was kind of wondering, should I, or should I wait? And probably I just ended up doing it not at the right moment, but never mind. a5, castles, queen b6. Again, I was sort of wondering, but I decided I'd just play a few more developing moves. Bishop e3, a4, and then bishop f2. Why did I play the move bishop f2? It looks a little bit odd. It is true. Blocking the f file, which you think might get opened. The key thing was that I was thinking if black goes b4, I want to play c4. And I just didn't want to have my bishop being hit by an intermediate c takes d4. That's why I wanted to get out of here. I was thinking very much about using that c4 lever to blast open the center further. Basically, I wasn't 100% certain about how strong it would be to take on e6. Maybe I'd believe it straight away against a human player, but against an engine, yeah, always, even a weakened engine like Duo, it's always a little bit risky. So I was thinking, yeah, if I can get that extra lever, get in c4, and after dc4, get in d5, and then break through, that might be just even stronger. So that explains why I did that. It's not the best move, the engines thing, but it's still quite decent. Queen a6, which I thought was quite a decent move, actually, getting out of d takes c5 and also, covering the c4 square. After b4, c4, you'd have queen takes c4. So that's why I played rook c1, just to say if you go b4, then I will go c4. And Duo played a3, b3, and now bishop b7. So, yeah, I mean, you can imagine what I was thinking. I was looking at playing c4 all the time. So here I've been given the opportunity. Black's gone a3, I've gone b3, so I'll play c4. And actually the engines think this is a really bad move that just throws away what should be a huge white advantage. So, oh dear me, it seems so logical to me, but apparently not. Yeah, the engines now actually want to take on e6 here. Takes. Obviously, with the queen on a6, you get this extra threat of knight c7. And after rook c8, we play f5. Very similar to what happened in the game. For the engine, this is a clear win. For me, I'm not quite as sure. But yeah, this is obviously, pretty powerful. And again, against a human player, I'd thoroughly believe it is. Just against engines, you're a little bit more worried. You maybe want a little bit more before you start, which is why I played the move c4. I thought, destabilize the center and then we'll really get at it. But yeah, turns out not to be so great. Knight to b4. I hadn't really thought about this at all, but it's a very decent idea. Apparently, it would be even stronger for black to take on c4 first and go knight b4. Yeah, not 100% sure why. In some ways, it opens up lines as well, right? But anyway, that's what the engine wants. I'm sure he's right. But this move, in general, is quite a good idea. Right? It's solidifying the d5 square, so you're not going to break through easily. And also the queen, of course, is defending the pawn on e6 now across the third rank. So that certainly explains why I played c takes b5. To be honest, I was pretty optimistic still. Queen b5, so the queen's no longer defending this. And then d takes e5. And I think I'm coming in with knight d4. And now, yeah, this is really a lot of pieces attacking the e6 square. This looks good to me. Yeah, the engine's thinking, nah, nothing special really. The engines think that knight takes c5 would have been the best one. Duo played queen a5, which, to be honest, is not illogical. I mean, it's getting out of the way of this knight d4 square. You'll have to do that eventually. But what the engines wanted was to go knight c5, knight d4, and then queen b6, which seems incredible to me, stepping into that pin. But the engines think that after takes, knight takes e6, hitting that. This move bishop c8 is a decent defense, pinning the bishop here. And if I go something like knight takes c5, you're going to go bishop h3, and we're claiming there's no good discovered attack there. A move like f5, the engines are just saying takes, and king g8, and there's no danger whatsoever. Yeah, what can you say? These are things that are very difficult to assess, to be honest. But yeah, Duo played queen a5, which obviously is going to be sort of less optimal because, yeah, the queen's no longer defending the third rank, so sacrifices against e6 are going to be very, very tempting. Now, of course, I went for the sacrifice against e6 now, which is decent. But it's not the best. There's a move that I just hadn't considered at all, but which is really pretty cool. Maybe you want to just have a little look and see whether you can find it. It's not easy, and it's quite unexpected. So do have a little think about it. There's two move orders. I'll go for the most interesting move order, and that's the move c6. Why? Well, knight takes c6 here is met by the move knight takes f7. Would you believe it? King takes f7, and now bishop takes e6 check. It's pretty cool. King e6, I go rook takes c6 check, and after bishop c6, knight d4, king there, and then knight takes c6 here. What's the key point? Well, if you go something like queen b5, I'm going to throw in an e6, which is going to end up being quite nasty. I mean, you're just blasting everything open. You're going to exchange stuff, and then you're just going to have rook, queen, and bishop just blasting through. The engines thought that queen c7 was the best line, but then queen d5, king e8, knight e7, takes and e6 is apparently incredibly strong for white. But again, to me this is just looking like a total mess. But for the engines, Torch was saying 3.11 for white. Yeah, just Pretty incredible, really. But that was what the engines really wanted. But my move is really not bad at all. I think from a human perspective, it's quite decent. Bishop e6 takes knight e6. And what I was just trying to work out really was, how do I get a queen onto this diagonal to attack the pawn on g6? And f5 is definitely going to be a move. But then what do I do with my bishop on f2 to try and get my pieces involved? Those were the things that I was thinking about. Well, the engines thought that knight f8 was the best move. Duo played king f7, and the engines jumped to 4.45 for white. But not an easy one. f5, that was pretty obvious. And now bishop a6 from black. So, yeah, bishop a6. I mean, I was not thinking at all about, my knight is pinned. This knight is going to move. I'm going to sacrifice the exchange. That's absolutely clear. The key point is, though, how on earth do I want to get my pieces free? And there was a really clever move here. Maybe I'll just leave it for you here, and you can just have a look to see whether you can find it. It is a very, very nice idea. Yeah, the key idea for white here is to play the move bishop e1. This is really neat. I mean, it's opening up the f-file, but it's also pinning the knight to the queen, which is restricting black. And it's also going to mean that we're going to get incidental attacks against the knight to win back the material. And, there's also moves just like bishop b4 followed by queen d5. It makes perfect sense of absolutely everything. And I just didn't have that vision, simply. I was only looking at the bishop moving forwards, really to d4, basically. And I just was not thinking about this retreating move. Really powerful move. What I did was, I was basically, I was sort of reasoning by analogy, I think, really. Black plays the move bishop a6. I'm not bothered about this one. I'll move that one at some stage, but he's weakened control of the c6 square, so I'm going to push c6 and disrupt the black position. In all fairness, I had not really grasped properly how much of my stuff black was going to be able to take whilst defending. So knight e5 and then bishop d4. That was and then knight f4. That was the idea that I wanted. So I'm looking for this. Happy if you take it, I'll just take it back. Your light squares are going to be weak. I was thinking, well, this is going to be quite decent somehow. But black took on f5, and now I went bishop d4. And I was really thinking that, wherever the black pieces move, they're going to open up space and lines, and I'm going to get at that f5 pawn, at that h5 pawn, at this black king. But actually I got a bit shocked here because there was one move I hadn't realized, which was that the knight was going to take the pawn on c6 and move backwards. That's actually very good for white, this, but yeah, it sort of made me panic somehow. And of course, I'm moving very fast here. I mean, I'm just taking a few seconds per move somehow. So it's not really, I don't really take that much time to ponder it. But what I should have noticed was that the knight moving back to c6 has freed up the c2 square for the queen, so I can attack f5. And this is a very strong move indeed. Knight d4, I go knight d4, and I'm still going to be attacking this one. That would have been pretty good for white. But instead, I played the move bishop c3. I was looking really to drive this queen away and then get queen takes d5. But actually, it's a horrific move. Queen b6 check is just a really awkward check. Wherever I put my king, I'm in a lot of danger here. Knight g4 and then into f2. It's really bad. It's just a really terrible move, bishop c3. But Duo helped me out. Played the move queen b5 here, which is a reasonable looking move. Also from a human point of view, keep control of the d5 square, and you're threatening queen takes f1, but it gives me something of a respite. Because I play the move queen c2 here, attacking the pawn on f5, and it's really difficult to hold now. So how are you supposed to do this? Well, the engines say that takes, king g8 is perfectly fine, and after knight g6 we just take the bishop and ignore it, and there's no way through for you. Well, there we are. That's just That's not something I could have been certain about. I think even with at a long time control somehow, I would have been thinking, come on, I must be missing something easy. But apparently black can just keep things at bay there somehow. But okay, doesn't really matter because Duo played knight d3 against me. So when that happened, I suddenly got very excited. The point, of course, is that this knight is pinned. I can take on f5 if the knight moves away. So it's not really, doesn't really have any threats like knight takes c1. And what's also true is that the knight on c6 is hanging. So I can play the move bishop takes h8 here. Now, I mean, I'm also threatening. I can also have, one of my threats could also be to go queen c3 into g7 somehow. So I've got some threats. I also could consider queen e2 coming round to h5 if a rook doesn't come to h8 soon. So yeah, somehow this move knight d3 has allowed me to open up a few extra channels towards the black king. And yeah, after rook takes h8. I played queen takes c6, and suddenly I was thinking, I think I'm better. I think I'm winning in actual fact. So black played the move knight c1, and here, unfortunately, I missed a very good move. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's going to be part of the next puzzle, but there was a move here that would have been really, really very strong. What I did, though, I thought rook c1, black's obviously threatening queen takes f1 check here, but I thought rook c1 was really strong. I mean, takes... I come here. This was actually looking very good because the black pieces are very restricted, and I've got some powerful knights here. Actually, the engines say plus 2.8 for white, which seems excessive to me, but I'll take it somehow. That's fine by me. But what Duo did was play the move rook c8, which at first sight looks like it's well, actually kind of decisive, right? Because if queen takes b5, we've got rook takes c1 check. If queen f1, then unfortunately rook takes f1 is just winning because the bishop's covering. And then obviously if I move my king away, then just bishop takes b5 and black's up material. But I have a rather brilliant continuation here. So what was it? How did I put Duo, or rather Oscar, to the sword? Quite unusual, I have to say. So the move was knight g5 check. That's the nice one. So if bishop takes g5, I've got queen e6 or queen g6 check here. I'm just going to pick up lots of material with checks. So that isn't possible. So king f8 was played. And now can you see how I finished off the game? Well, queen h6 check is vaguely tempting, but the king can run, so it's not completely clear. But there's a much nicer idea, and that is the move knight e6 check. The king actually has got no squares. Everything's covered somehow. Has to go to g8. And now what was the finish? It was a back rank mate, funnily enough. Queen takes c8 check. If bishop c8, I go rook c8 check, and well, you can interpose everything, but I just hoover it up. And my knight's covering f7 and h7, and this knight on e6 is covering g7. So it's basically as if black had got 3 pawns on the back rank there. He can't move his king off the back rank. Duo played queen e8, queen takes c8. My queen, shouted Oscar. And after bishop f8, queen takes f8, king went boom. So there we are. Hope you're enjoying these games, having great fun playing them, and it really is a lovely playing level. So hope you're having some fun playing Oscar as well and earning lots of XP, 150 points on triple points. And otherwise, thanks very much for watching, and hope to see you at the next ones. Thanks for watching.